Hey everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of FlutterFlow Live. I was gonna brush my hair beforehand, but I forgot. So
It's
I'm
okay. You look great.
uh, not exactly a L'Oreal advert, but that's okay. We're talking about FlutterFlow, everybody. Everyone who's here, everyone who's watching in the future. I hope the future's good and better than the world we have today. And let's make the world a better place by talking about FlutterFlow. And what are we going to talk about today, Dimitar?
Yeah, I
Uh,
was thinking there is a new update. They're coming very frequently right now, so maybe we can just go past to like 5 minutes just to pass for just to talk about the new update real quickly, and
yeah,
then
sure.
you can share because you shared like the one last week. You shared like two tutorials on the community, so you can
Yeah.
just talk a little bit more about it. And
Uh,
then at the end of the session, if there is time, I have a little bit surprise for all of
ooh,
you no-coders
I'm
out
pretty.
there.
He's been teasing
So
me with this for like a week now, so I'm kind of since
yeah,
the like
so
5 minutes after the last live stream.
yeah, so it's not yeah, I think it's something big for all the people that cannot code or don't want to code or yeah,
Everybody can
no
code.
coders.
If you've got one screen in FlutterFlow, you are coding. Just not. So, oh, this is a new update. I didn't.
Yeah, so apparently they have the mugs. I didn't know actually they have the mug. I never tested, but
Yeah,
probably
I
it's
haven't either,
working.
but I did see it on the on like the actions or whatever, or on the integration. Sorry.
Yeah.
So what's new this week? Live stream with Mux. For those of you who don't know what Mux is, Mux allows you to do TikTok, essentially,
Yeah.
amongst other things. It's a series of cloud video hosting API services that essentially allows you to get better video performance in your app. So that could be the two main ways it functions is one, your users are uploading videos to the app for content, and it allows that to be then transcoded, but in the good way. So essentially optimized for different, in the same way like on YouTube, you have 360p, 720p, 1080p, or whatever. Not that my TV can do anything; it's like 20 years old. But other people have 4K TVs and whatnot. 4K TVs. And that's essentially what Mux does. It means that, especially if users are out on mobile, it's going to deliver them the most optimized video for their connection, for their screen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the cool thing is, it's pretty much really just an API. I've played around with it a little bit, and it's.
And I have a question for you. Do you know that is it also for live streaming
I
and also for recording or
I think that it sounds like they focus on the live stream. So the live stream is literally so amongst other things I said, yeah, it does allow you to do like an infinity scroll and like TikTok kind of stuff, so you don't get that lag of the video loading when you're like swiping through an infinite scroll video feed. But I think my guess is that they focused on the live stream first, and I suppose that is just a literally, yeah, allowing your users to live stream the same way you would with, I don't know, back in my day, Periscope or any of the
okay,
other
so
apps.
next time we are live next
You
week
can definitely try and build this.
We can create a Mux app using FlutterFlow and we can just share the app, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll get integrated into the no code community app, the Lenny app,
Yeah.
which we should be live streaming on, but I keep forgetting, and I apologize for that. I have like 7 loyal subscribers and no content yet, but I will be putting this up and a bunch of other stuff too soon. So, okay, permission settings. If your app uses private data, you must a user permission use that. We've added this permission settings. Okay, that's
Yeah,
pretty.
so basically, I think before this update, if you have a permission, like for example, you're using the camera, I think the iOS will want you to, Apple will want you to write the permission in any language that you're using, and that
Mhm.
was actually was done using the localization kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So it was a little bit messy to be
yeah,
honest
you have
because
to like add another language, right, in order to
yeah,
be able to
exactly,
put the different things, even if it was only in English.
exactly. But I think right now they fixed that and they just have it on a separate. Uh,
That's cool. I mean, there's I think Apple, especially for people who haven't launched their app, by the way. Although FlutterFlow makes it super easy, make sure that your technical stuff, don't think it'll be overnight. There are lots of like hidden stuff. For instance, if you have any sort of social media features or what they consider to be social media features, then you have to have something like a report offensive content feature. What's stupid is that has no specification or definition. It can literally just be a button that says report that sends an email. I'm going to assume in good faith that you're going to actually have it go to you, but I don't even think they check that. It's like, even though the Apple testing uses humans, it's still mostly kind of automated. I read that they have like 2 minutes to look through each app. So they're basically just looking for the key things, but they don't necessarily tell you what they are, at least not easily. So yeah, this kind of stuff is something that definitely they're hot on. Also, if you're using the Stripe SDK for your app, that's another one where they want very specific, like this type of pop-ups. So it's really cool. We've got this little bit more information from FlutterFlow about how to do that.
And we have actually, sorry to interrupt you, we have a first question from Nelo. I think I pronounced it right, Nelo. So he says, "Hi guys, is there any cost for those API?" I'm assuming we are just on the next topic of the live.
Assuming months, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
there is a free version for sure to get you started. Like everything, we can have a little look. But I've never had to pay for it. I know that. Obviously, if you hit any sort of scale, but definitely you can get it up and running in your app for free. They have a little nice calculator, it seems like. I always think my rule with pricing is if you have high prices, that's a good problem to have, because that means you have users. So monthly view content.
So basically, if you're sharing like 10 seconds, you don't pay anything.
Yeah, it seems like if your monthly video upload streams 240, you're paying like a couple bucks. So I think that's kind of affordable. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, the thing is that it's real easy to implement, right? Both FlutterFlow and both Max. So yeah, for that kind of community, I assume you have to pay, right? So
yeah,
it's a normal thing.
No, free things are not the good things, but it's definitely, I think, affordable. And the best thing is that you can get it set up without actually having to pay for it. So moving on to payments, new FlutterFlow plan options. These are, we talked a little bit about this last week, didn't we? But this is the team stuff. This is really cool. I think if you have a team, I know this has come up before, and they seem, if I zoom in here, pro, £70 per month. So these must be individuals, no?
The pro is an individual, and the team it's for teams.
Oh, there's annual billing. You get 3 months off, or refer 3 friends and get 3 free months.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the referral feature is working right now in FlutterFlow, because
no, it doesn't.
Because
you can get your money though. You just write to them.
It's strange, because actually in your dashboard you should be able, when you click on your profile, you should be able to see how many people you shared it and how many people actually subscribe. Yeah, exactly. But it's not working for me, and I think it's not.
No, I referred my co-founder and it didn't get applied, and they said that it was an issue or something. So.
Yeah. But
cool.
Definitely something good. And the last thing I want to add, just real quickly, is that it's great that they added for the free plan. You have 2 apps, apicos, but for the basic plan, probably it's good to add some to add it up a little bit, like you have 5 or 7 or something like that apicos per project. So probably this is something that I would like to see in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's...
and probably they made a mistake. Now I see that the team have only 2 apicos per project, which I don't think it's true. They have an unlimited apicos.
Because that would make no sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Per project, unless it works differently or something. I think that's just a copy paste error. But no, I mean, $70. There is also an education discount, I believe, if you're a student. This though is a big one. Null-safety, and we should maybe before the September 7th I think I've seen some comments on the community. People are a little still confused about this. I'm going to give my stupid person's explanation of what null safety is, and then you're going to give the correct one. Okay, Dimitar?
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
null safety is cool. Null safety is essentially a feature of Dart that, well, and I think probably other languages too, but of Dart that stops your app breaking. So a null value is essentially when there is no, so rather than being an empty string value or a 0 for an integer that you haven't set yet, there is nothing. Your data is not there. This is often what causes gray screens of death in your app. I had it this morning. So null safety is features of the programming language underneath that essentially help you to avoid that. What you are essentially doing is it's kind of a system-wide way of putting in default values for stuff. So every value, like if you have a function or your visibility for a widget is based on if this number is bigger than this number, then show it. If it's lower, don't show it. What null safety allows you to do is essentially say, if this number doesn't exist, then do this. And that's obviously really helpful if, for instance, situations where a document maybe hasn't been created yet for the user. This would have previously crashed out your app. What you now have is the ability, I don't know if Dimitar, you have it open where you can show, but in essentially now every function, the custom function that you write, you can use null safety both for the return value and then also for the inputs. And again, what that's meaning is that if your input is not there, you have the ability to say, if you have it false, null safety off, then it is like the old system essentially. It's required to be there. If it's not there, the function doesn't work. Null safety then allows you to say it can be nullable. How did I do? Did that make any sense?
Yeah, great actually. I just want to add one example. Like I'll try to do it clearly, more clearly, but you did it great actually. But the thing is that if you imagine that we live in an apartment, for example, and we have like 3 rooms in that apartment, and those 3 rooms are the screens of our app. So if we or the pages of our app, so if we can imagine that we have 3 pages, and then when you click on a page, you want to go to some page. When you click on that page and you go to another room, and the no actually means that there is no such a room. And that's why you're getting the gray screen. So imagine that you are trying to open the door and go to some other room, but this room actually doesn't exist. So what in real life, this is not possible, of course, but in the code world, it is possible, and you will get a gray screen because the code don't know what it's doing actually and what do you want to do, because you're trying to, for example, you're trying to open the door and go to a room that doesn't exist. In this case, you're trying to actually go to a page that doesn't exist. So with no safety, it is like you said, it's there is something like so in those kinds of situations, you have some kind of backup. You say that if doesn't exist, then do something else, or yeah, something like that.
And to be honest, it's your friend. It's not as scary as it sounds. You are going to get, if you haven't migrated yet, you are going to get some red errors. FlutterFlow does try to sort out your functions for you to help you. So essentially, when you migrate, what's going to happen is any custom functions that you have, a lot of them will show up with errors. Unfortunately, I don't have a project that's like right in the middle of it right now of the migration. It does also allow you to save a version when you do that, so that you can go back in time. If it really does, don't do it on a production app if you're in the middle of changes, basically. But if they're kind of, I don't know, like when I did it, it took maybe, once I kind of figured it out, obviously you've got the error checker. There were like 2 or 3 ways basically that I could fix everything that got broken. So once I kind of figured that out, I was going to show one example about what we're talking about. So return value, for each thing, you have a nullable, true or false, nullable, true or false, and you have a little tooltip. Essentially, if I were to, instance, say that this could be that my answer, or this is the thing that broke my app this morning, actually, so I probably should have used null safety. I wasn't right now. If I go in here, it will now be popping up an error. So you're going to get things like this. And what it's going to be saying, this one comes up a lot, that it can't be unconditionally invoked, which a quick Google will tell you essentially that my function is set out in a way that it needs to be there. If it's not there, it doesn't work. But I've told FlutterFlow now that it potentially may not, it may be a null value and not actually exist, which is what was happening. This function was causing gray screens of death. So what I would need to do is actually just in which one did I say? Nullable? Date time. That's the syntax you see here. This little question mark. That whenever you see that, that's essentially saying this value, this start time can be nullable. So what I would need to do is go in here and provide some sort of, maybe Dimitar would help me, but essentially I would have to, one of the syntax, I don't really know the answer here. I'm just going to be honest. But
the thing is that if you have like this, for example, you think you have to do it like the start time have to have like a backup for the start time. So you have to say the start time, it's that time, for example, and then
I have to like initialize it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So do you do that with like a if null, or is it more like I've used this syntax before where I do like start time like that with this double exclamation mark?
Yeah, you can do it both. Like you can do it that way. That way, this means that if this value is no, then you just put this value instead. But actually, I think you need to write it without a 2 question mark, and then just write 1 question mark, and then equal sign and question mark. I think equal sign and then question mark.
Equal then question mark.
Yeah, this is working in PHP, but probably it's not working in Dart. The other way around is just write the start time equal sign and then start time 2 question marks and then check time.
See, I fixed it. I don't know.
No, but the thing, this is not. I think this is not what you need to do.
I do not think that was the right way to fix it.
No, you have to write start time 2 question mark and then check time. No, start time equal start time again start time to start time.
Oh, that's
what
start time. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
And then question marks, 2 question marks. Okay, and that basically means that if we don't have a start time, and if start time it's no, then get the check time instead of the start time. And now you don't have any errors.
Yeah, exactly. So I have already forgotten what other, but if this is helpful for people, I have seen a lot of comments about it. Let us know.
Yeah, this will be helpful after the 7th of September, right?
Exactly, because that's what, going back to the original point, yeah, this is going to be standard on 7th. You need to be migrating. It's helpful for your app. We can definitely give you, we can even maybe, when I say we, I mean Dimitar, can explain some quick tips on how to do this. And we can even do it dedicated if there are enough people who actually
Or I can show you how to do this in the surprise section in this slide.
Ooh, such a tease. Okay. Next thing on the, we're taking up too much time on this. Media assets over 3 megabytes causes issues with deployment and GitHub syncing to spell wrong. Cinching. Sorry, to make it easier to fix and find and fix any issues with a new feature to warn you.
Yeah, basically, when you have a more than 3 megabyte file, you have to fix it and upload some other file, I think. Or if you have characters that are not supported in GitHub, they fix that. So I think you can have characters right now that are not supported in GitHub.
That is cool. Another quick tip on the issue of large image sizes: if your app has a lot of images and it's causing delays in performance, you can, if it's grabbing it somewhere, you can actually cache it. So not when you're doing it from asset. If you have things as asset, they're obviously going to make your app bigger, which makes it harder for people. But you can do this cache thing. Again, I would have to go or ask somebody after they go into the code. But I mean, from what I understand, Firestore does do some caching by default anyway. But this is going to essentially, it will increase the speed of your app because it's
not downloading the image again and again. It's just downloading it once, keeping it in the device memory, and then just open it from there after that.
Warning: if you haven't saved recently, we've added a new warning to remind you haven't saved a project version recently. That is interesting. It scares me a little bit because I didn't know that I needed to be saving lots of versions.
Now you know.
I think I will go save my project right after this.
But this is actually the next one is your favorite, I think, choice chips, right?
Just really quickly, for those of you who don't know, versions are, you can revert. They're also way more useful now. This is a secret feature they didn't really talk much about. You can save a new version. I think it's Control S, Shift S, or just press save. It means you can label it, so you can actually say, this is when I did this thing, like GitHub comments, almost change log. And so then you can kind of have a log of, okay, that was when I broke it. I did that stupid thing, if you're me. But the cool thing now is that you used to only be able to restore. You can actually now go back to your snapshots and you can look at them first. I'm not going to do it because I have a feeling it's going to tear down my computer. But that's what you can do. That's what save versions is. And what is this? Oh, choice chips.
Your favorite, right?
To filter your query. Choice chips make it easy for users to make a selection of a series of options they're frequently used. Here's a step-by-step guide. These new guides, by the way, for those of you who haven't heard, and I love this design, not just because it's green. I'm glad the green is catching on. But these guys, this one is on the blog. They've also been, I mean, the ones for the Uber stuff. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Fantastic. It's almost exactly the same. I love it. But yeah, what you can see, choice chips are great for allowing users to do things like they would do in any other app. So you can display your list. And we're actually going to talk very quickly a little bit about that. Because I did a tutorial kind of talking about some of this stuff and how to use it effectively. Go back. No. Here we go. No. I got lost, Dimitar. Where'd I go?
You just go back from the screen, right?
Was that the last thing anyway, or no?
I think it was the last one. The other things are.
If it wasn't, hopefully they're like the tip.
Yeah, the last one is tip of the week, which is for dependency. Make sure that you add all the dependencies, and they show where you can see all the dependencies when you go to some package. Yeah, for example.
Oh, is this for custom widgets? Yeah.
Yeah, this is for custom widgets. When you have more than one dependency, and I don't know, some of the people just adding one of the dependency and then asking what is going on, but now they show you that you need to add all the dependency in order everything to work. Yeah, and they have the new query filter option, which I didn't use it, but
where's that?
Probably you can talk more about it. It's here.
New query filter option. We added the option to filter Firestore queries based on a list containing an item in another list. This is cool. An ideal use case is filtering an item that has tags based on multi-select choice chips. This is actually really cool. This comes up a lot. So I have actually not used this. So this is the array contains any. A quick warning, I'm not sure if it will block you in Firestore, but you can, of all the different filter types, to refresh for filter Firestore queries, you have, something equals something, something not equals something, something is greater than, less than, in, which is in, meaning in a list of 10 options. So, this person is in this group, yeah? So if you've got a group with 10 user references, you can check someone's user reference against those 10. I say 10 many, many times because it does not work with more than 10. And you can also have not in. So in is for a set of 10. Essentially, it's running 10 equal checks. So is it equal to this one? Is it equal to this one? From what I gather, it's not necessarily most efficient, and it definitely breaks your app. It just breaks Firestore. It's a limitation.
When you're saying 10, you mean like the first 10 or the 10 results?
So essentially, like, let's say you wanted, if you did your user, and you queried all of your users, yeah? And then you said, show this user, make it visible. If his user reference is in the results that you got back from your entire users collection, yeah, that will break your app. That will not work.
Okay.
You can only compare to a maximum of 10 different options. But if you're, they may have changed some of the, to kind of prevent you from doing this. So if you're entering it manually, but essentially if you're putting in a variable list, like the results of all of the people in my users collection, FlutterFlow has no way of knowing how many that is. And so the moment you have 11 people in your users collection, it breaks. And that's when you use array contains. Array contains does not suffer from this problem. Array contains works differently. So what you're looking there for is it's very similar. I should be able to better explain the difference between the two. But array contains is great for this giant group of stuff in a list and does this array of results, if you like, contain my thing that I want to compare it to. What you couldn't do before was array contains any. This means any of the people in my group of friends, in my list of people in this group, or any of them have Amazon Prime membership, are they in that group as well, that I can steal their subscription? Because I'm mad at Amazon Prime because they've been charging me for 2 years and I didn't realize it for an American subscription. So this is really cool. The limitation here, by the way, is that you can only have one of these per query. So if you have an array contains any, you cannot have an array contains filter as well. But this is really, really cool. We can definitely try to cover that next week.
Yeah,
we should make notes.
Yeah,
or maybe somebody like Ali can make notes for us.
Yeah,
because he's doing a great job on the timestamps.
Yeah.
Some other bug fixes, blah blah blah. By the way, tell me how long your super secret surprise takes.
Yeah, I think most 15 minutes the most.
Okay,
So
okay.
you have like 15 minutes or more.
Okay, so we're done with that.
Yeah.
Shall I go through? You said you wanted to ask some questions. What I want to talk about is this is not just promoting my own stuff. I wrote 2 tutorials that kind of came up from questions that I kind of saw getting asked, people asking me. And I found this really interesting. It was quite cryptic, but I find it very useful. Show us how. Please, because we were struggling with that last week. So I did 2. Which would you prefer? So one of them is about filtering lists of documents from Firestore. This is about local filtering, partly because of things like that limitation I mentioned when doing Firestore queries. I know you don't use Firestore much, so maybe this one's interesting to you. But essentially, this tutorial goes through how you can get a bunch of results and then use them a bunch of different ways within the same page of your app. The second one was, I don't even remember, because I write these when I'm half asleep normally. Was about doing batch updates, which we've kind of covered before. I think maybe this is just following up on something we said we would do, which is to explain. I kind of tried to provide a generic and really explain it line by line in my own simple English way of how this is a basic batch update custom action. So again, to repeat, FlutterFlow by default does not let you update 2 documents at the same time, delete 2 documents at the same time with 1 button press, or on-page load. What this custom action allows you to do is it's dynamic, meaning it's not always linked to one collection. You can put in a collection name, you can put in a field name, you can put in a current value, a new value, and this would allow you to do something like change all of the statuses of a bunch of different tasks in your tasks app with 1 button click. Which of those is potentially more interesting?
I think I have probably both are interesting, to be honest. But okay, let me ask you some questions first, and then we will go from there. So, the bunch update you're talking about, and you're talking about the 10 query limitation, because as I said many times, I'm not using Firebase, Firestore, and Firebase for my database. So when you're updating more than 10 records, will that work as well? Do you know that?
Yeah, so that's definitely a very different thing. So that is the in thing is literally just one of the query filters, because obviously it's a non-structured database rather than a structured database. So I guess that's one of the limitations. So, but this is actually exactly what this is doing. Is actually using nope, not this one. I thought this was batch up. New user batch update. Oh no, this is the wrong tutorial. Sorry, my bad. So what the batch update does is actually writing all of your all of your changes at the same time. So rather than writing them sequentially, when this comes up and when this is interesting, so what you're doing here, just to walk through it very, very quickly, essentially we are within any custom action or custom widget, maybe, I don't think so within custom functions, but within custom actions, you can access your Firebase Firestore instance. So what we're doing here is we're using this part. Syntax is always the same.
I think you can access from anywhere.
Can
I'm
you access
pretty
it?
sure.
I should definitely
I'm
do
pretty
that.
sure.
But
You can.
I don't know why. I always do it from actions, mostly because I want to do it on page load and stuff like that. Anyway, so what we're doing here is we're specifying this is the collection we're going to update. So there's going to be from a parameter here, meaning you can change it. It's not just a single use for one specific use case. And what we're doing is a special write batch. This is an arbitrary variable. It's in green in this instance. Firebase instance.batch. So this is kind of the syntax. If you're ever looking for examples of this, a really great website to check out is FlutterFire. It will tell you it's out of date. This was originally, because I guess Firestore Flutter integration has gone mainstream. But if you go to this usage page here, there are fantastic examples of how to do all this stuff. That is pretty much where I stole this from. So they will explain it better than I possibly could. So what we're doing here is we're essentially creating a batch with our collection reference where, and I've got basically a query. So we go and grab a bunch of stuff, and then we take the query snapshot, which is unhelpfully in another screenshot. We basically take the results of our query, and then we do the same action on all of them. So where update field equals to, again, these are just dynamically entered by the parameters over here. Then query snapshot. This is just an arbitrary name that we are giving to say the results of this query. And then for each, which it tells me I shouldn't do. Do you know why? Why is that bad? It always
no, they're just saying that you're using for each in the wrong way. That's what they're saying here.
So how should I do it? Is it going to be inefficient?
I mean, it's not wrong to use it that way, but they wanted to use it in some other way. That's why.
Okay, it says I shouldn't do it on a literal. A literal just means a fixed name thing, right?
You should not do. I think you should not do it with that for each. You should do it some other way.
Oh, okay.
But
I did it for 4H and it works for now, at least. Anyway, so what we're doing here then, the kind of the transaction part of all this is batch set. Set is just another way of saying update. The difference is that update overwrite. Set, you can merge. You have the option to merge, whereas I think update overwrites all of the. Am I getting that right?
I think so.
Yeah. Set will just change like one field, whereas update will, whatever you're updating with will. I should probably check that. But I'm guessing in here I'm using set, so it must be that set. There's also the option to merge. Anyway, this then is actually what writes all of the changes in one transaction. Where this kind of thing is really useful for is, say you have an e-commerce app and you are creating order numbers, or if you are doing like counts and stuff like that, especially if your app is amazingly popular, as I'm sure it will be, and you're having lots of writes to like a counter, then what potentially will happen eventually is that two people will take the count and then both be writing to it, trying to update at the same time. Your count will go off. With a transaction, what this allows you to do is kind of avoid that, because you are writing everything at once. So you're using it almost like a temporary. Is that a good way to explain it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. But okay, I have one more question for that.
Yes.
You said it will be able to update, delete, and create as well, right?
Yes. So you can batch add. It's always the same syntax. So if you see here, you've got your get syntax and then your commit.
Yeah, but my question is, you cannot do create and delete, for example, right? You can also, can you?
Yeah.
At the same time?
This is what essentially, you can do any of the Firebase actions essentially. So in this instance,
no, but I mean, can you do it on the same time? Can you do it like create and delete at the same time?
Yeah. So I have that. I have one, for instance, where I have a shopping cart collection, and then I have an items collection. Yeah. So when a user wants to clear their cart, I do the exact same thing. So I go and get all of the documents that are linked to that cart, and then I go for each, which I shouldn't do apparently. And then I do, instead of this set stuff, it just says batch.delete. Again, batch meaning the variable we gave. So it's just looping through that whole list, deletes them all, and then it's done. Then it commits the batch. So yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Why?
but I mean, with this custom action that you just showed.
No, my plan was to, if there was interest, I would keep doing. That's why there's a batch updates. I was going to
Okay,
continue this,
I got it.
but my hope was that by explaining it, and I maybe should have linked directly to this, that's how I managed to piece out how to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I've given people enough kind of tools, but if you have questions, people, please ask me. And I'm happy to do more specific for other ones because I have a few others. Last thing, and then I'll let you. Yeah.
Yeah. What about the other custom
Yeah.
function, the query function?
The other one, which I think is maybe more interesting, no, to be honest, they're both for me. So
They're both interesting.
What we are doing here is, if you have a instance like in this screenshot, we are displaying a list of all of our users here. We're also wanting to display the number of new users, meaning maybe the number of users who've signed up in the last 7 days. And then right here, what we want to do is actually display all of the users. So essentially, this could be 3 different queries, right? You could set up a query here at your top and say, look for all of users. And then you could set up a query here and say, look for all users with a created time that is not more than 7 days ago. And then this one, you could do query all of them. Again, if you've got large lists, you obviously want to be doing limits. And this is not really efficient if you got millions or thousands of users. But if you're just trying to get up and running. What we're doing here in this tutorial is showing you how you can essentially grab, because you're getting all of the users 3 times to do 3 different things, you can essentially get them all once. And then within 3 different functions, take that list of users and actually manipulate it. And when you do that, that gives you a lot more power and flexibility. The ability to take a list of stuff in a custom function and using just a few simple methods, turn it into the exact list you want, gets you away from all of those gray screens of death, essentially. It allows you to do stuff that Firebase simply does not allow you to do because it's all local. And so it's more programmatically efficient. Yeah. So.
And actually, it should be loading 3 times faster, right? Because if you're querying 3 times the user space, it will be 3 times slower.
Yeah, exactly. It should give you better performance. You do have to be a little bit careful where you put that query. So as we talked about last week, you can grab a list of documents inside either a container or at the top of your page. Yeah. And if you do it in either of those ways, it means it's not replicating, creating new children in the same way that it would for a row or a column. You just have to be a little bit careful because essentially that widget will not load until the query's done. So if you have it too high, or if you don't have, for instance, if it's visually going to be like noticeable because it maybe has some color or something like that, there are kind of some, have to be a little bit careful there because you might see some flickers while it loads the data each time as you come to that page, because it's essentially holding everything else up because everything else is dependent on. With that caveat,
what about putting it in the onload page action?
That would be a great solution. You could do a query snapshot and get it on load. Yeah, for sure. Another example use case, by the way, for this would be, I think I was going to show you that I have the flicker here somewhere. No, this is another good example. Anyway, you can definitely do it on page load. Another example would be if you have 3 tabs and you want to show like pending orders, completed orders, done orders. You don't need to do that as 3 queries and 3 list views, because from what I understand, I don't know exactly how Firebase caching works, but again, you're going to be doing lots of reloading the same data unnecessarily, and it will ultimately be slower. It won't work, especially if they have bad internet connection, especially if it's a long list, versus just grabbing it once and then the entire time they're on that page, just manipulating it locally. So in the tutorial, I won't go through it line by line because I don't want to take away from about 1 more minute.
Yeah, and also, as you said, if you have a huge app, it will just save you money as well, I think, right?
Because, I mean, again, I have 0 users, so for right now, that's the least of my concerns. But I'm looking forward to having that problem. But yeah, it is true. Don't be scared of it. But yeah, Firebase charges you per read of a document, so there's no point to try to honestly. So yeah, exactly. In here you can look at it on the community, but essentially I'm using some very simple stuff where I create a new empty list, I then go filter all the results, and then I add the ones that I want back and return the resulting list. If you have any questions, ask. And over to you, Dimitar.
Yeah. So
I talked for like
so
45
yeah.
minutes. That was insane.
So yeah. I have a little surprise, as I said, for you all and for you, Josh. Probably you'll be the most excited guy, I think, for this one. But yeah, let me just try and share the screen first and see. So, okay, sharing screen. There should be this one. Okay, so now you should be able to see mine, right?
Your screen. There we go.
Yeah,
Yep, we
you see
see
it,
it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, if you could
Yeah.
possibly zoom in, is there any chance?
Let me try it out. So that if this is okay, this is better.
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
Okay. So the thing is that in FlutterFlow, we have probably we have this custom function. So when you add a custom function, in your example, you want to add like I don't know, like integer, and then you have like for example, you're returning an integer. You have one integer here, and then this is the integer, and then you have another here, and then you have this integer over here. When you go to code, actually, this code is how to populate it from FlutterFlow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why it isn't a type. That's strange. Why I'm getting
There's
isn't a
null
type.
safeties.
That's strange. Probably. I'm not sure.
No,
I suppose to not have this error, but that's strange error. Probably because I name it int, so int or something like that.
It's a protected name, no?
Yeah, because exactly. Okay, so the thing is that you know that right now when you're using OpenAI and the auto code generator, you can just say increase int one with int two and return the value, for example. I don't know, like something like that, and just hit the green button. You already know that, right? You just hit the green button.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, this feature allows you to generate code automatically, so to give you at least a starting point based on just natural language. It uses open source stuff. I'm curious if it will fix Dimitar's spelling mistake.
Yeah, sorry about that, but yeah, it's very complex code that is given me.
Yeah.
But essentially, I think it's working. It should be working. So it's just increasing one. It's super easy.
If you do it multiple times, it gives you different results, right? Because
exactly. Every time it gives you a different result.
Sometimes it comes up with some crazy stuff.
Yeah. And then what I want to say is that what I want to show is that when you go to custom functions, when you create a new custom function, unfortunately, you cannot use this code, right?
In the custom widget, you mean, yeah?
But I can show you how you can use it. And probably this could be better for everyone because you can actually use it for a lot of things. Because when you go to beta, that's OpenAI, which is actually the OpenAI website, and actually there are two important things here to say. First one is that it is free to create a new account.
Okay.
So this is great. And then when you create a new account, you should apply for the Codex version because you have two versions here. You have the GPT-3 version, which is a standard, like wrote me a poem or something like that, AI functionality. But then you have the Codex functionality, which is only for code. When you click on Codex,
do we have to, when you say apply, is it like an application or you just mean choose the option?
I was an early adopter, early creator, or early accounter with OpenAI, and when I created my account, they only gave me access for GTP3, and then I had to apply for Codex. So I don't know if they changed this, but if they didn't change that, you have to create an account and then apply, especially for Codex. That you have to say that I want to have an access to Codex, because the other important thing is that this is actually the GP3T is paid, but Codex actually it's free. because it's an open source.
Funny.
Yeah, because it's an open source, and sorry, it's not open source, but it's in beta. And they say while it is in beta, it will be free. So that's great. And then I can just show you, because I already prepared some demo for you. And then I can just show you when you go to, for example, you have this path provider. So for example, you have like any package that you want to put in your custom custom function, custom
Yeah.
widget, sorry. And then you don't know what you do, and then you just add the code, like you're creating the custom widget, and then add the path dependency, and then you add the important dependency in the top. And what you are actually getting when you click on boilerplate, you are ending up something like this. So in my example, this code is actually straight from FlutterFlow. I didn't
Yeah.
actually. The only thing that I added was this comment over here, and
Mhm.
then I said the source as well. It's this, but this is, you can delete that. I just put it so I can show you where this is actually coming from. But this actually is a path provider, is actually a way to have an access, your app to have an access to local storage inside the mobile device.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
this is the idea of this package. And then, for example, if you want to save the image to the application library of the device and you don't know how to do it, you just write a command like this, and then you hit submit. And when you click submit, actually, the OpenAI is writing this code instead of you. So all this code that is just writing over here is a code that actually you can use. And I tested already, and I think yeah, probably not 100% of the time, but I think more
Good.
than 90% of the time this will be something that you cannot actually use in the end of
So
the day.
literally, I'm just taking the boilerplate code with the
Yeah.
dependency, basically.
Yes, and just write wherever you want to. And then it's not finished right now, but when I click submit
Yeah.
again, it will just finish the custom widget. And just wait a second, and now, boom, that's about it. It's
Wow.
done. And you can actually copy and paste the same code. You can copy and paste and get it back to FlutterFlow. And we can of course try this with some other example. I don't know, like update update the image, for example, or something like that. I don't know, like, and then click submit again, and this will give you another version of the code. So as you said at the beginning, this will always or almost always give you some other code. So most of the time it will not duplicate the same code, which is actually a good thing, because if it doesn't work for the first time, you can actually try it again, and it in the second or third time it will probably get it right. And this is one of the cases that you can actually use it. And one of the other cases is just to take some random code from FlutterFlow. And for example, like the last case that we were wondering how to write something
Mm-hmm.
in FlutterFlow, you can actually take a bunch of code from FlutterFlow, and you can just say,
Create a new class, a data type, right? Create a
yeah,
new data type.
yeah.
That's
For
good.
example, you can try that, and this might probably work. So for this over here, I want to say, I don't know, like create uh, uh, a field, sorry, a field with a phone that uses the text controller 2, and with this format. And for example, you can just say the format, which would be, I don't know, like something like this, for example. And then it just hit submit. and then this one should just write you. In this example, it's just giving you a hint text. It's not actually checking for this format, but you can be explicit and you can just say check the format if the format is correct, and if it's not correct, give an error or something like this. And this will actually work. So if I say if the format is not correct, give me
So you
an
don't need to tell
error.
it that it's Dart or Flutter or anything like that. You're literally
No, because when the AI see this part of the code that you have, they know the code the OpenAI or the AI already knows that this is a Dart code.
okay.
You have actually here that you can specify the code, but if you leave it on plain text, because they don't have Dart here, as you can see, but if you leave it on plain text, you would just say, it will just know error or something like that. So if you just run that, it will just give you, it should write you the code. And you can see here it's writing regular expression, which is great actually, because this is actually a really complex regular expression, to be honest. So it's doing all this for you. And
That's
the
pretty
other
cool.
thing, yeah, and the other thing that this actually can be very helpful is when you have the third thing that this can be very helpful. When you have a custom code or custom widget that is actually not working. So if you have some errors in your code, you can actually go over here, copy and paste the code, and just say fix the code below, and then you can just say over here, and you can just say fixed code or something like that. And I would just do some random error. I don't know, like here or something like that. I don't know, some random error. And then if you click on submit, the AI should actually fix the code by itself.
And what is when it says this model does not exist? What does that mean?
Where do you get it
I
from?
don't know. I am not an early adopter since I'm just finding out about this now. Though I actually did have an account. I have played with it a few times before. So I've only got the GPT-3 ones. Does that mean I can't do this? Can I not do code analysis from?
Yeah. First of all, GP3 it's paid. So if
Yeah,
you're
because I've
doing a
already
lot
hit
of
my
yeah,
limits.
if you're doing a lot of coding, there are a lot of testing, and it will actually cost you. Like for example, if you are doing the things that I just did with fixing the code, and you do it like 20 or 30 times, this will cost you roughly $10.
Okay.
So yeah, so first of all, GPT-3 is paid,
Yeah.
and the second part is that GPT-3 it's not code specifically trained.
Yeah.
So the results actually that are coming from GPT-3 may not be better than the one coming from Code DaVinci 2, the
hmm
codex, the
I'm just
codex.
going to show you what I'm seeing on my screen right now.
Yeah, sure. Let me just stop my screen.
Because
Okay.
learning is doing.
Yeah.
So I've used their example to be honest.
Yeah.
Which is a slightly different than what I wanted. This, which was I've tried this before. Actually, I remember.
Yeah.
So it's explaining code. This is supposed to basically take a chunk of code and then tell you what it is doing in like
Yeah,
plain
actually, this is actually very helpful because if you don't know what this code is doing in the
my
FlutterFlow application or something like that,
exactly.
yeah,
But now it says here the usage is free during this period. Okay.
yeah, this is just a normal thing because this is saying actually what I just told you that
Yeah,
this
I
is
did sign
actually
up for the beta list, or whatever, but
yeah,
then I just hit submit. Then, or do I need to do something?
yeah,
I think
just hit submit. Yeah,
class
just
complete.
hit submit. And it's not working because probably just stop when you say stop sequence, just delete this one. Just click on the Higgs. It says stop
Where?
sequences. Enter on the right side.
Oh, here.
Just
Yeah.
just try now. Probably no, it's not. Okay, then just delete the first one when it says one, and then delete, and then try again. maybe. Okay, that's strange.
I always break things. I have a feeling this might be to do with the fact that I apparently have exceeded my usage limits. But I'm more interested in doing what you. I'm just obviously. What is this?
Yeah, that's strange because you are using the code version of it.
I
So,
think that I don't. I think that this is maybe because I don't have access.
but you
Somehow,
should have.
changing presets for the sky. Or do I need to save first?
No, you don't need to save it.
No.
Can you just refresh the page again so we
Yeah.
can just see what the message you're actually getting? Or you're not getting any message right now? Okay,
No?
that's strange.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to rain on your parade. I was just
No, it's okay. No, the
example.
thing is that this should work actually, but
Yeah, I have a feeling this. I might try to sign up with a new account, and I have a feeling that create a JavaScript.
yeah, just
So,
you
if
can
you want
just
for instructions, what's the
slash
syntax?
slash slash slash
Slash.
and then write
Uh,
a simple
add
function. Oh yeah,
two
whatever you
numbers
want.
in Dart, and then slash
No, without the slash slash. Yeah, yeah,
like this.
and
Yeah?
then
So it's just like a comment in a code. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Oh, it's that's strange. It's not working for
Yeah,
you.
I really think. I think they've
Probably you
been.
don't have access for that, isn't
Yeah,
it? Or
I think I would have to set up paid account.
yeah,
In other words,
probably.
create lots and lots of free accounts,
Probably they need some kind of payment
card or something.
card. I'm not
I
sure.
remember using it before, or maybe I've been supposed to pay and I haven't. You
Yeah,
must.
but it should work because it's working
Yeah,
for
it's
me,
fine.
and I can assure you that it's free. Actually, when you're using the code DaVinci, it's free. Just you have to keep in mind that you have to click it manually. So if you're just opening the playground, it will, by
Yeah,
default it will be on the text DaVinci, which is the GPT-3, and you
I
have to
did
pay for
find
it.
this where it says join the wait list. So they said it's a long wait, but maybe it won't be.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
really cool though. I've definitely
sure.
used a few of these things before. That's an awesome
Yeah,
way to use it. So the key,
yeah,
so to
because
recap, make your custom widget that you want to use. Make sure you put the dependencies and your parameters that you think you want to put in there. Dump it in here, and then
just
basically,
click on the boilerplate first, and then copy
yeah,
and paste the
boilerplate.
boilerplate.
Yeah. So basically, get your boilerplate for your widget. Put the import statement at the top. Put your parameters in that you think you want to use. Dump all that in here, and then basically you just type, what was it? Finish. You type here at the bottom something like finish my code.
No, it's you type whatever you want to. So when you have this code,
Slash always, and then
and so when you have this code, always at the end of the code you have the curly braces, right? You have to
Mhm.
delete those and just leave with the sorry. So
Oh,
let me
okay, I
just
see what you
check it
mean.
again. So you have to delete those and just you have to the last line that you should have is the widget build and then
Widget
builder
build
context.
context, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, because that's where you would be inserting stuff. So essentially, you
yeah,
take away the
exactly.
last curly brace, you press enter, and then it will try to build based on whatever was above it in the import statements. That is really cool.
Yeah,
I definitely
yeah.
want to try that.
Yeah, for sure. You have to try that and let me know how it works for you because I think it will just help you a lot in the process.
To edit this video afterwards. Uh, all right. I think we are over time. That is amazing. Thank you, Dimitar.
Yeah,
That's
thank
really
you as
cool.
well, George. You shared
Thank
really
you to
great
everyone who
stuff
joined
today.
us. Thank you for all the questions. And if you have any more, feel free. I think Dimitar made a thread. We'll post this video and maybe some of the links to the OpenAI stuff in the comments. Ask us questions. Tell us what you want for next week. I think next week maybe we'll do null-safety, but we'll make it fun.
Yeah, we can do
Some
that, and we can share with OpenAI how you can fix actually your custom widgets.
Ooh,
Yes,
good idea. Well, you can,
yes,
or unless I pay. But
yes.
yeah, no, that sounds good. All right, thanks, guys, and see you next week.